Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990's Represent. We're finishing up our second cycle of 1995, talking about a video game. And in this episode, we're talking about Star Trek The Next Generation of Final Unity. It's an excellent point and click adventure. I have some notes here about it. We're going to go through those notes, and then we're going to, like we always do with the games, do some gameplay as well. So let me go ahead and get my notes open here. All right, there we go. Star Trek The Next Generation of Final Unity was first released June 30th, 1995. It was developed by Spectrum Holobyte. They were very famous for creating the Falcon series of very, or at the time, super realistic like combat flight simulators. So they are the developers of this. Again, it's a point-and-click adventure. Cool thing is, it is fully voice acted by the entire Star Trek: The Next Generation cast. So you have Patrick Stewart, you have Jonathan Frakes, you have Michael Dorn, Marina Sirtis, Brent Spiner, LeVar Burton, and Gates McFadden, all reprising their roles from the show into this game. It plays essentially like a very like an episode, like a kind of like a longer episode, maybe like a 2, maybe 3-part episode of the series. But again, it's fully the really kind of the selling point is fully voice acted by the cast, which is pretty cool. The game was delayed from when it was supposed to come out. I guess it was supposed to come out closer to the release of Star Trek, the 25th anniversary, which is another game that was released in 1992. So it missed that deadline. It ended up getting pushed back to 1995. Star Trek, the 25th anniversary is also very good, a very good adventure game, as well as Star Trek Judgment Right. So those ones are based on the original series. This one, of course, is Next Gen. This is Spectrum Holobyte's second Star Trek game. So the other game that they released was released on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, and it was another Star Trek: The Next Generation game. I might do that game. I think it's like a 1994 game, but I might do that game in a future cycle of like maybe 1994. I think that's when it came out, because I remember it being a very good video game, especially for it being a Super Nintendo game. There was a lot you could do. You could do a lot of stuff on the bridge. You could go down and you did various away missions. But yeah, they did that one on the Super Nintendo and Genesis, and then did a year later, we got a Final Unity. Let's see here. Spectrum Holobyte, shortly after this, I think acquired the other developer, Microprose. They continued releasing other Star Trek games under that brand. So I think this was like the last one that was officially done by Spectrum Holobyte, but they were technically still developing them because they had bought Microprose and were just developing it under that company instead. The game came out to pretty good reviews. Let me actually bring the reviews up here. See, I had them loaded up, but I think I closed my thing here. Let me see. There we go. Just go down to some quick reviews here. So, Computer Gaming World gave it a 4 out of 5. You had Next Generation giving it 3 out of 5. PC Gamer, the UK version, giving it a 94%. For some reason, the US version only gave it a 74. But let's see, a 91, 93, and 90 out of for Computer Game Review. So 3 different people reviewing it. Still pretty high marks with 91, 93, and 90. And then Electronic Entertainment gave it a 4 out of 5. So overall, pretty good reviews. And it's been a while since I played it, but it's I remember it being just an excellent, point and click adventure. It definitely has like the style and the presentation of an episode of The Next Generation. So it definitely has a lot of like really good production values, and the way it's presented is very good. So we got that. Let's see here. The one thing I will kind of caveat this with is getting this thing running on a modern computer is kind of a pain. I had it installed years ago using DOSBox. I remember you had to go through like a kind of not super complicated, but like definitely requires a lot of steps to get running. I'll leave a link in the description to if you want to play it as well. The tutorial that I followed most recently actually has it running on other software. It still uses DOSBox, and you still need to have either a copy of the game, like the CD-ROM, or the files because you basically have to copy them into like a different folder, and then you go through this other program and set it to be like a virtual drive and like to install it. It's definitely a little bit more complex than I like to get an older game running. Unfortunately, I don't see them ever doing like an updated version, or like an HD remaster or anything like that. There's probably a lot of like rights issues they would have to go through to even re-release it. They would have to go through obviously the Star Trek IP, whoever like Paramount I think has that. You would potentially need to get the rights from all of the actors again to use their likeness, both in appearance as well as voice. But like an HD, like an upscaled version would be really cool. Or even just a version on like GOG.com where it still runs in DOSBox, but it basically is already set up to run. Because getting it set up was, there's definitely a lot of steps to follow. But then again, there'll be a link in the description for the tutorial that I followed on this most recent install when I got it up and running and tested it out. Still works pretty well. One downside is if you go into full screen mode, it kind of cuts the left like edge of the screen off. So you kind of have to play it in windowed mode to actually be able to see all of the screen. But it would be great if we saw like a updated version. But I kind of don't think that's going to happen, especially with Spectrum Holobyte. I think now being like completely gone. I think they're like that studio is long closed, unfortunately. But that is going to do it for this portion of the video. We're now going to jump into our gameplay and play some of a Final Unity. So we'll be right back with that. Alright, and we are now back in Star Trek The Next Generation of Final Unity here.
Captain's log, stardate 47111.1. A Federation listening post along the Romulan neutral zone has detected an unidentified vessel headed for Federation space. The Enterprise is moving to intercept.
At its reported heading and velocity, the vessel will enter Federation space in approximately 47.3 seconds.
Go to yellow alert.
We have the vessel on sensors.
The ship is a Garidian scout ship. They are driving their engines too hard. Their warp core is critical.
The Garidians? What is the status of their relationship with the Romulan Empire?
They're on friendly terms and may share technology.
We are being hailed.
On screen.
Help us. We are fleeing political persecution. We seek asylum. We are being persecuted.
Their signal is breaking up.
What do you make of this, number one?
It could be a trick.
The Garidians have earned a reputation as honorable warriors, Captain. They do not ordinarily resort to trickery.
We are within visual range. The Garidian's warp drive is failing. They are dropping to sublight speed inside Federation space.
Slow to impulse.
Warper decloaking directly ahead. The Warbird is also Garidian. They are hailing us.
This is an internal Garidian matter. Withdraw at once.
You are violating Federation space.
They have cut off transmission.
The Warbird has locked its tractor beam onto the scout ship.
Go to red alert.
Alright, that's a pretty good intro there. And then we get our TNG intro. So, just like I said, the presentation is just on point.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Captain's log supplemental. A Garidian warbird has violated the neutral zone in pursuit of a scout ship. The fugitives may be seeking political asylum, but as yet we have been unable to confirm their intentions.
Alright, so here you can interact with the various bridge crew. So you could talk to, you know, Riker. Let's go talk to him.
What do you think, number one?
The Garidians respect strength. If we show any sign of weakness, it might just encourage them to fight.
What do you suggest?
Maybe we can use our phasers until they listen to reason.
And then you have various, you know, dialogue options here.
I don't want to provoke them, number one.
Obviously, let's go talk to Troy then.
Any insights, Counselor?
The Garidian captain is torn about something, as if she were faced with a difficult dilemma.
She has violated the neutral zone.
It's more than that. I think she has a personal stake in this matter.
Mr. Worf, your analysis.
The Garidian warbird is similar to the Romulan Dideridex class. It is less maneuverable than the Enterprise, but it has slightly more firepower.
We'd both take a beating if it came down to a fight.
Our records identify the warbird as the Asirim, commanded by Captain Pintara. Starfleet intelligence rates her as a capable but unimaginative tactician.
Mr. Data, do you have any suggestions?
As long as the warbird maintains a tractor beam on the scout ship, we cannot beam its crew aboard. However, if we maneuvered the Enterprise between the ships, we could temporarily disrupt the tractor beam.
We will have to drop our shields to use the transporter.
We'll have to take that risk. Make it so.
We have broken the Garidian's tractor beam. The crew of the scout ship has been beamed aboard.
Captain, the warbird is hailing us.
On screen.
Federation starship. This is an internal Garidian matter. You've been warned not to interfere.
Your presence here gives me every right to interfere. Why have you violated the neutral zone?
They are locking their disruptors on us.
Captain, you are harboring dangerous criminals. I demand that you transfer them to my custody immediately.
Our Garidian guests were rescued in Federation space. Any extradition will have to proceed along normal diplomatic channels.
You know that there is no formal extradition treaty between our governments. Captain, one of the criminals is my son, Avakar. Return them and I swear they will all receive a fair trial.
I sympathize with your concern for your son, but that does not justify your violation of the neutral zone. You will leave Federation space at once.
Very well. You have won this time, Captain. But I promise you, there will be a next time.
The warbird is heading back toward Garidian space. They are activating their cloaking device. Captain, our new arrivals are requesting to speak with you. Their names are Lucana, Avakar, and Tabak.
What are your orders, Captain?
I should like to consider the situation a bit further. Counselor, do you have any thoughts?
I'm sorry, Captain, but I don't have any suggestions right now.
Any suggestions, number one?
I'm sorry, Captain, I don't have any suggestions right now.
Mr. Data, any suggestions?
I suggest we contact Starfleet, Captain.
Mr. Worf, your analysis.
Captain, we should check our orders from Starfleet.
So yeah, this is your main kind of area. You can basically just kind of interact with the various crew. There's like the turbo lift will get you to. There's some like away missions you go on later. You can go to the turbo lift there. That's where you go to talk to the kind of people you just rescued. But aside from that, it's basically just your standard kind of point-and-click adventure, but it has just very good production values. Presentation is excellent. We're going to go here and talk to one of them.
Captain Picard, can you help us contact a Vulcan archaeologist named Shinnok? He may possibly hold the key to the discovery of the Lawgiver's fifth scroll.
See here.
What is this fifth scroll you mentioned?
Let me give you a bit of background. Garidian society is a rigid structure consisting of two distinct classes, the patricians and the plebeians. For the past 1,000 years, that structure has been governed by the laws derived from the four sacred scrolls. The first scroll outlines our code of honor. The second describes the relationship between the military and the government. The third defines the principles of our religion. And the fourth enumerates the privileges and responsibilities of the patrician class.
But you speak of another scroll.
According to legend, the lawgiver also wrote a fifth scroll defining the rights and privileges of the plebeian class, which were not explained in the other scrolls.
What makes you think Shinnok can help you?
My studies indicate that the followers ended up somewhere in what is now Federation space. But because our governments are not on friendly terms, I could never follow up on that research. But the Vulcan scholar Shinnok lives in the Federation and has made extensive studies of our history. I believe he may have vital information that will help us locate the followers.
Why are you so interested in this fifth scroll?
I am a scholar, Captain. My interest is purely academic. Lucana, on the other hand, is a social revolutionary. She hopes the scroll will inflame the underclasses to rebellion.
How would an ancient scroll do her any good?
The patricians stopped the lawgiver before he could reveal his fifth scroll. The lawgiver and a few of his disciples, known as the followers, left Gerrid in 5 spaceships to start their own colony. No trace of them was ever found, and the story gradually took on mythic proportions.
Who is the lawgiver?
His real name was Avatrunai, and he was the architect of Garidian society. His 4 scrolls became the cornerstone of our entire culture. The 5th scroll could be the greatest social discovery in Gerrid's history. Even if you don't agree with Lucana's goals, I urge you to talk to Shinnok and help us find the scroll for science's sake.
This could be an intriguing quest. I have decided to visit Shinnok and see whether he can help you regarding the 5th scroll.
Thank you for agreeing to visit Shinnok, Captain. The 5th scroll could be the greatest social discovery in Gerrid's history.
Understood. We will be underway at once. I will let you know when we arrive. Mr. Worf, inform Starfleet that we will be assisting the Garidians in their search.
Aye, sir.
Computer, what are the current whereabouts of the Vulcan archaeologist Shinnok?
According to Federation Archaeological Survey records, Shinnok is currently excavating ruins on the planet Horst 3.
Set course for Horst 3, Warp 5.
Aye, sir.
Engage. Mr. Data, any suggestions?
I suggest we contact Starfleet, Captain.
Any suggestions, number 1?
I'm sorry, Captain, I don't have any suggestions right now.
Counselor, do you have any thoughts?
I'm sorry, Captain, but I don't have any suggestions right now.
Captain, we are receiving an emergency transmission from Simcoe 4.
Simcoe 4? Isn't there a research center there?
Yes, sir.
On screen. This is Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the Federation Starship Enterprise. How can we be of help?
Captain Picard, I am Daneb, Chancellor of Simcoe. We are in need of immediate assistance. Merton's orbital station has been attacked by an unknown vessel and does not answer our hails.
Attacked? But the station is a purely scientific facility.
Is the attacking vessel still present?
We do not know. Whoever or whatever they were, our sensors did not detect them.
Perhaps it was a cloaked Romulan vessel.
I doubt the Romulans would venture this far into Federation territory. The risks are too great.
Captain, you must hurry. The attack has destabilized the station's experimental power core. We don't know how long we have until a core breach. But I can tell you the resulting energy release and radiation would be catastrophic.
What about survivors? Did anyone get off the station?
We detected several escape pods, but we haven't recovered them yet. The pods we detected could hold only a few dozen. There are hundreds aboard the station, including families.
Set course for Simcoe 4. I hope it's not too late.
Thank you, Captain. I hope you arrive in time.
We'll do our best. Picard out. Dr. Crusher.
Crusher here.
Doctor, we may shortly be taking on a large number of wounded, possibly hundreds.
How much time have I got?
Not enough, I'm afraid. Picard out. Miss LaForge?
Yes, Captain.
We're en route to Merton's orbital station. They've been attacked, and they're going to need immediate assistance. See what you can find out about their experimental power core.
I'll see what I can dig up, but the Simconians do some advanced work. It may take a while to figure it all out.
Then I suggest you work quickly. Millions of lives on the planet's surface may be at stake. I expect a full analysis of the situation and our options as soon as we're within sensor range.
Yes, sir.
Engage.
Alright, so now we're heading to the station to stop it from... I guess it already got attacked, but... see what we can do now.
Mr. Worf, your analysis.
Captain, we should check our orders from Starfleet.
Alright, here we are.
Captain's log. We have arrived at the Simcoe system in response to a distress call regarding Merton's orbital station. The station was apparently attacked by unknown forces, leaving it in danger of a power core breach.
We are within sensor range of the Merton's orbital station, sir.
On screen. Miss LaForge?
LaForge here.
Report. What is the condition of the station?
You're looking at what's left of the Merton's orbital station, one of the largest research centers in the Federation. The focus of their work is on power generation. 5 years ago, they built the prototype of an experimental power core, and it's been running the station ever since.
Power generation studies? That doesn't warrant an assault like this.
I've been in contact with Starfleet headquarters. Power generation is only part of what this station studies. For several years, researchers here have been working on new ways to detect cloaked vessels.
If the Romulans discovered this, they might have risked a raid. The Simconians did not detect the attacking ship. It may have been cloaked.
That's speculation, Mr. Worf. We have no proof the Romulans were involved.
Well, whoever it was, something powerful punched through the station's shields and sliced off an entire research wing.
What do you mean, sliced off?
There is insufficient debris in the area to indicate that the missing section was destroyed. It is possible the attackers simply removed it.
Geordi, could that be what destabilized the power core?
No, and that's what I can't figure out. Damage to the upper deck should only cause minor problems, but I'm reading serious power fluctuations. Maybe serious enough to breach the power core's containment field.
What will happen if the containment field fails?
I can't say for certain, but with the amount of energy that thing can put out, I wouldn't want to be around it when it goes.
Is there any way to shut down the core?
There's a fail-safe mechanism which is supposed to jettison the core automatically in an emergency.
I'd say this qualifies as an emergency. Why wasn't the core jettisoned?
The only way to prevent it is by manual override. Someone has to be there to stop it.
That means there's someone still alive in there. Data, are you picking up any life signs?
The station's shielding is interfering with our sensors. I cannot tell if any of the crew are still alive. However, life support is still functioning. But power readings indicate that it may fail at any time.
Dr. Crusher.
Crusher here.
We're nearing Merton's station. Are you prepared for casualties?
My staff is ready to do double shifts. We can handle about 330 emergency cases, but we'll have to beam the rest down to Simcoe.
Understood. What is your recommendation?
We can't do anything from here, but to get an away team aboard, We have to find a way through those shields.
I believe I have a solution. The station's upper shields are badly damaged. If we establish a lock on a transporter on the upper decks, a transporter beam could penetrate the weakened shields.
Once we're in, we should be able to jettison the power core. Then we can lower the station's shields and evacuate the wounded.
Very well, number one. Make it so.
Jordy, I want you and the rest of the away team ready to go in 20 minutes.
We'll be there in 10.
Alright, so now we gotta go to the transporter room. And so we got here.
Beam down coordinates selected.
So we got Riker, we got Crusher, we got Geordi and Worf. Alright, cool. So that first chunk of the game, or the bit is kind of like the bridge stuff, the stuff on the Enterprise. This is one of the away missions, so basically you can cycle through who you're playing as, so we'll go ahead and do some stuff with Geordi here. Is there anything we could interact with? Got the tricorder, we can use that.
The systems check out, but the energy flow is highly unstable. I wouldn't use it.
That's a medical tricorder.
It didn't work. It didn't work.
See how we get out of this room here.
It didn't work.
So as far as I remember, there's not a way to do like a group move kind of thing. So basically you have to click down here and go about finding or clicking on which character you want to use.
I've got to talk to the engineers who built this place. The entire hull is lined with a liquid titanium-duranium alloy in a memory gel suspension. It's completely self-sealing.
You mean the station heals itself?
That's one way to put it. The attack caused major structural damage. If this were any other station in the Federation, we'd be standing in a vacuum.
There's an injured here.
She's got multiple fractures in both legs. The bones in the lower part of her left leg are shattered. She's in shock and there's some internal bleeding. All things considered, she's very lucky. I can take care of the worst of her injuries here, but I'd like to get her to sickbay.
We can't risk it. If the cable shifts, it could crush her.
So we gotta get rid of that cable here.
We may be able to cut her free with a phaser, but we'll have to be very careful.
It's high setting, you gotta do it on low.
The cable has been cut through.
I've been thinking about how to free that trapped crewman. What if we use the station's transporter to remove the cable? With the station's sensors out, we'll have to manually acquire the cable's coordinates for beaming.
It is a data transfer line. It was severed by an energy blast.
This cable's built for handling information, not energy. I'm surprised it didn't just vaporize when it was hit.
Transporter coordinates confirmed.
So then we need to beam that thing off of the crewman and then we can heal them, I think. So there's the cable, and now I can think we can further rescue the crewman there. So just like your basic kind of point-and-click adventure, there's going to be various puzzles to solve and things like that.
She's got multiple fractures in both legs. The bones in the lower part of her left leg are shattered. She's in shock and there's some internal bleeding. There's no need for that. There's no need for that.
Let's see here. Now, I thought we removed the cable. This is another one.
I can help her, but I'll need a few things from my medical kit.
I don't think that's such a good idea.
There's no need for that. There's no need for that.
I think this is the medical kit. Not on power line, on wharf. I think Crusher's just in the way. There we go.
That takes care of the worst of her injuries. She's coming around now. How do you feel?
I'll manage. You're from Starfleet, aren't you?
Yes. We're from the Enterprise. Try not to move. I've stopped the bleeding and given you something for the pain, but your legs are in bad shape.
You're right. Multiple fractures, probable lacerations. I'm Anna Bennett, Chief Medical Officer. We've got a lot of wounded here, some worse off than me. How many can you evacuate?
Our sickbay can handle any emergency cases. The rest we can beam down to the planet, but we can't begin transport until we lower the station's shields.
We can't do that until we stabilize or jettison the power core.
wounded are there?
I can't give you an accurate count, but the first attack destroyed an entire wing. I was headed for sickbay when we were hit again.
Do you know who or what did this?
We never knew what hit us. There was an initial attack which lasted maybe 10 minutes. Later there was a hull breach and the power systems went crazy. I don't remember anything after that. I passed out.
I'll be back soon to check on you. Hopefully we'll have good news about the power core by then.
All right. I think I'll be fine for now.
I wonder if Riker has any other dialogue options instead. It's basically the same, but let me see here.
What did you mean when you said the power systems went crazy?
It's this insane experiment Dr. Greaves and some of the other researchers put in place. A revolutionary power source. It's unstable enough to begin with. After sustaining damage like this, who knows what it'll do?
We've been reading some large power fluctuations. Is that normal?
How should I know? Those maniacs. You know what they've got down there? They plugged the biggest research station in the quadrant into a singularity, a black hole.
And why the energy fluctuations? Singularity-driven power sources are usually stable.
Greaves came up with some scheme to increase the energy output. Something about gravity waves. I don't know all the details, but it involved destabilizing the containment field.
We'll be back to check on you later. Right now, we've got to stop the core breach if we can.
All right. I think I'll be fine for now.
All right, and I think that is going to wrap it up for this video. Again, this is just an excellent point-and-click adventure. Like I mentioned throughout the video, just the presentation and production values of it, having it be fully voice acted by the cast is awesome. Like I also mentioned, it's kind of a pain to get running on a modern computer, but again, there'll be a link in the description if you want to check that out. But again, that's going to do it for now. So thanks again for watching. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll be back again in a few days, jumping into our second cycle in 1996. I'm really looking forward to that. But again, that's going to do it for now. So thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.